Hey everybody, welcome to the second video. So hopefully your experiment is going well, or if you haven't done it yet, it will be going well. What I'm going to do really quick is show you how we're going to make the graph to our data. So what you've done, right, or what you will do is you've dropped the Q-tips. You will have dropped the piece of paper, okay, and then what you are going to do is you are going to just keep track of the data table, right? I showed you guys that in the first video, right? You should have a column for round number, column for moose population, column for wolf population. Okay. After that, you are going to take the data from the table and you are going to make a graph from it. Now, this looks probably a little bit different than what you've seen before. The only reason, or typically see before, I'm sure you've seen this somewhere, but we have one x-axis on the graph, which I've labeled as round number. So, right, round number 1, round number 2, so on and so forth. But on one y-axis, we have the wolves population. On the other y-axis, we have the moose population. All right, so this is what that means. First, I'm going to use a different colored marker so we can see it a little bit better. All right. So I'm going to mark the wolves in red, and the moose I'll use black for. So let's say in round number 1, right, I look at my data table, and in round number 1, what everyone's going to have are 2 wolves and 10 moose. But before I do that, I need to number the y-axis for the wolves and the y-axis for the moose. And that's going to change because you're going to fit your numbers or change your numbers to fit your experiment. So let's say if I'm looking at all of my 20 generations and the most wolves I have is 15. Okay, well, I don't need to make this scale go up to 100 or anything crazy like that, right? I need a scale to go up to 15. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to mark 15 at the top. Okay, just to make life easy, I'm going to make a marker on here that represents 10, 5, and then 0. And obviously we want these to be evenly spaced apart. But let's say with the moose population, let's say it went up to 48. Okay, it goes up to 48. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the moose population on this y-axis, right? And I have it labeled. Okay, we want it to fit the numbers. Now, if you really wanted to, technically you could go 1, 2, 3, all the way to 48. I prefer to try to make things easy. I'm going to use 50 as the number to use up here just because that's a nice simple number to work with, even though we know we're not quite going that high. Okay, so 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Okay, and again, we want these as evenly spaced as possible. That's why you guys have graph paper. So what do we do with this? I'm now going to look at my table and say, okay, in the first generation, and keep in mind, I said for wolves, we are going to use red, right, is wolves. Okay, not sure if you guys can quite see that. So red equals wolves, and then black is going to equal moose. So first generation, right? We had 2 wolves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the first round, I'm going to go straight up and say, okay, we had 2 wolves, which would be right about here, would be where the wolves are. We also started with 10 moose. However, if we're measuring moose, we are still going to use this x-axis, but instead of looking at the wolf y-axis, right, we're going to look at the moose y-axis. So we would start with that data point right about here. All right, now I'm going to go pretty quick. So let's say if I looked at round 2, and round 2 had, let's say we say at 2 wolves. So round 2, 2 wolves is going to be here. But let's say if we went up to 16 moose. I'm going to still go round 2 here. I'm going to go up to 16, which would be right about here. So I would, and for me, I like to make the dotted lines across. For my own reference, that's about where that moose data point would go. Okay, and let's say next round, so in round number 3, our data table tells us that we have 3 wolves. And this time, they go up to 4. Right? So round 3, 4 wolves, because that's the y-axis we're using. But let's say we went from 16, let's say we went to 32 moose. So we're in round 3. So we go straight up from round 3, and we're looking for 32 moose, which would be right around here. So we're going to go straight up, straight over, and we're going to meet somewhere in here. Okay, we keep going. For round 4, let's say we got 8 wolves this time. So 4, we're going to go all the way up to 8. Okay, and for moose, all right, let's say we went to 48. That was our highest point. So in round 4, we go straight up. Okay, and we go almost all the way to the top. Okay, in round 5, say wolves go up to 14. So in round 5, we're going to go all the way up to 14, which will be up here for the wolves. But the moose plummeted down to 20. Okay, so now we have round 5, we have the moose. That would be about here, right? Go up, go straight over. And the last thing that you are going to do once you have your data points is you are going to connect them, because what we're really looking for here is trends. So I'm going to go from, so first for the moose, using the black marker, I'm going to go from round number 1 to round number 2 to round number 3 to round number 4 to round number 5. I'm going to do the same thing for the wolves. I'm going to go from round number 1 to round number 2, right? So we can see that it stayed the same, to round number 3, round number 4, round number 5. So this is the start of a graph. So right now what this tells us, because like I said, we're looking for trends, is the moose population started skyrocketing pretty quick. And after one round, so did the wolves. So we have 2 populations growing. But as of round 5, we have, as the wolf population is rising, we've got the moose population that starts to come down. Okay, and that's all I've done, is 5 rounds. You guys are going to do this for 20. You have graph paper, so you're going to plot your data points, okay, using the same model that you have here. And you're going to have a nice, beautiful, lovely graph that you are going to plot your data points, right? And then you are going to connect them so we can see the trends, right? What's happening where. So that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, shoot me a message on Schoology. And Mrs. Spate, being the math guru wizard that she is, will also, I assume, will be able to help you with this. So have a great day. See you guys next week.